Welcome to Local Matters. I'm Elizabeth Shanahan-Jewett. Let's talk about what's happening in our area. Hope Floats is a bereavement and educational center for adults, children, teens, and their families who are grieving, dealing with illness, or facing other life challenges. Julie Thompson spoke to Meaghan Hayes, Hope Floats program director and private practice social worker, about the ways this healing and wellness center helps to bring both to those in need.
Hope Floats. What a wonderful name for your center. Meaghan, can you tell me a little bit about yourself before we delve into the center and how you got to be in the position you're in right now?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful to Denise and Ken for having me here at Hope Floats. I'm the program director for our Mike's Club program, which is our family-based program for children who have experienced grief and loss. And I've been here for a few years at this point. Before I came to Hope Floats, I actually worked with at-risk youth doing in-home therapy wraparound services. And I started a small private practice here and was able to volunteer with our Mike's Club program and help out. And my time here just grew from there. I loved it so much. The families are absolutely incredible. The staff here is amazing. And all the volunteers that come and help as well.
So Hope Floats has been around for how long?
Hope Floats was established in 2009. Denise and Ken opened up.
Okay. Meaghan, as the program director, you must constantly have to keep up with the subject of bereavement and different strategies and initiatives that can support these very important efforts. How do you do that?
Such a wonderful question. So we are very grateful to be members of the National Alliance of Grieving Children. They put on an incredible symposium every year. They've been virtual for the last several years, and we've been able to participate in that. And they're always presenting new and innovative ideas to support children. We also belong to a local New England chapter of childhood bereavement programs. So we're able to stay in tune with them and see what they're doing, especially during the pandemic. We were able to feed off of each other and support each other through this and how to best help out families. And in addition to that, there are incredible trainings out there that are going on that we are able to do. Like I'll do for my license CE trainings. And so I do a lot of those with different agencies and organizations that put those out. And we actually have one as well that we offer to providers.
Yeah, I saw on your website you have a lot of resources available too for people to kind of delve into their own research if they want to. That all has to do with the many things you do. There's so many programs that you offer on your website. It's packed with information. It's really easy to navigate too. I noticed that about the website, which is very calming. So many websites are just they scream at you, and your website kind of hugs you, which is really, really nice. Now, let's talk a little bit about the different programs you have. Mike's Club, you said, is for basically for children. Can you tell how that came about and what you do?
Absolutely. So we really feel like it's very important to provide support to children and their grieving adults as they're coping with grief. And so what we do is we meet with the children and we do creative activities with them that are focused on processing feelings related to grief, sharing memories of their loved ones, because it's so incredibly important for them to be able to have a safe place where they can share those, and also ways to promote self-care and do things to make themselves feel a little bit better. So all of the children who come to the program have experienced the loss of a parent, a sibling, or a significant caregiver who they saw, every single day in their life, or a family member who they saw every single day. While they're doing those creative activities with our staff, their adults actually have a support group that they go to. So it's a peer facilitated support group. We have a night that we have an incredible woman who's running a child loss group. We also have one of our staff members running a caregiver group for those who are raising a grieving child or a caregiver. And then we have a team of absolutely incredible folks who are running our partner spouse loss component. And so while the children are doing their activities, the adults get to go and have their time that they can talk to other adults.
That's wonderful. So you include the whole family or the family unit. What about people who haven't lost someone but have someone who's very ill, terminally ill? You also have programs for those people, and that must be just heart-wrenching.
It's an incredible program though that's filled with hope, and so we have our Mike's Club program. We're actually going to be shifting it and calling it Joni's Club, and so that's for families who are experiencing either a lifelong or terminal illness, and so the families can come and meet, and that's going to be starting, I believe, in November. We're going to be offering that, and then we also offer retreats as well. So COVID has unfortunately put a lot of those on hold, but we are looking at starting those back up again. So the retreats are not only for the person who is diagnosed, we have those, but we also have retreats for folks who are caregivers.
Now, when you say retreats, I think of you go away someplace for a weekend. Is that basically what it is?
So actually they come here to Hope Floats, and
Yeah.
if you haven't been here, please check out our website. We're happy to do tours, so feel free to give us a call. It's a spectacular Victorian antique home, and it's just very welcoming and inviting. So folks will come here, and there will be yoga classes frequently offered, different kind of self-care components, groups. We provide a nourishing meal so that folks don't have to worry about that, and it's just a day away to really get some support.
Wonderful. Now, your memory walk is one of your biggest fundraisers. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we have had to cancel it for the last couple of years, but we are so excited. We have rescheduled it. So it's going to be held on October 1st of 2022. And that is our largest fundraiser. And it is such an incredible experience. We have hundreds of folks come here, and they do a beautiful walk down by the Jones River in memory of their loved one. And people come with these huge teams and these personalized shirts, and it's just such an amazing experience. We have raffles that we offer. There's food afterwards for folks who register, and it's just really amazing. People can do little memory dragons. We actually have our posters from all of the previous years and everything with their loved one's name on it. It's incredible.
That's wonderful. And they annually come back. The families come back year after year after year. Yeah. That's terrific. That's just wonderful. So during the past 18 months, during the pandemic, there obviously has been an increase in the number of everybody, from children to the elderly, who require services for depression and anxiety and just fear. How much of that do you see at Hope Floats as a new entity that you never had before?
I think that it was something that's always, been here that we've supported. Folks, we have several private practice clinicians that are here who provide individual counseling services. And so the primary reason that folks will call us for individual counseling is bereavement, because we're a bereavement and educational center. But we certainly support folks who are coping with depression, anxiety, a multitude of other life stressors. So it's certainly been here, but I can speak from my work. I have absolutely seen that increase in the folks that I work with, or in phone calls that we're getting and things like that. So.
And how has the Zoom life or the virtual life that we've had to live in affected you? How do you think it's affected your ability to really connect with these people that come to see you and the services that Hope Floats offers? Because I know that a lot of it is being able to hug people and hold their hand and look in their eyes. And can you speak to that?
Absolutely. It's been difficult, and I think we can all empathize with that, how incredibly difficult it's been. Technology has been incredible in so many ways. It's allowed us to continue to support families throughout this pandemic. We had actually mailed out care packages to our kiddos, and we've had Zoom-based support groups, not only for our Mike's Club families, but for our adult groups as well. So it's been incredible to remain connected in some way. But it's also, you're absolutely right, it's very different. And we've, heard people talk about that in, folks who are newly bereaved, that they will discuss how different it's been for memorial services and things like that, how it's really lacking that personal touch from beforehand. And so I'm very grateful for technology in so many ways, but it is absolutely, difficult as well. It's harder to connect through a screen, especially with kids where, I'm typically very active. We do lots of activities when we meet. So it is very difficult at times.
Yeah. And hopefully it will get better. We seem to be on the right path anyway now. So Meaghan, how can people support Hope Floats? What do you do for raising funds aside from obviously your memory walk?
Yes, that's our biggest fundraiser. We also apply for grants, but so much of our funding is actually from donations. We just received an extremely generous donation from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so really like personal donations from folks. And we have a lovely sign downstairs where we say, donating time is so incredibly supportive too. If money is something that's so tight, which I know it is for so many folks, especially during this pandemic. So donating time, resources. We're always looking for crafts for our kiddos and things like that. But those are really like our main sources of income.
Alrighty, I definitely hope people visit your website and see what you're all about. Thank you so much for joining us today, and wonderful. Continue your wonderful work in that wonderful place, Hope Floats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie and Meaghan. If you or someone you know could use the support and healing offered by Hope Floats, visit their website for information and resources. On Halloween Day, the Forges Field adult softball field will be transformed by the Town of Plymouth Recreation Department into the setting for the Great Pumpkin Hunt and Halloween Extravaganza. This yearly event for ages 2 through 6 has been revamped to offer even more Halloween fun and excitement. There will be game stations with pin the nose on the jack-o'-lantern, ball toss, witch pitch, photo stations, play tattoos, coloring stations, and more. Costumes are highly encouraged. To ensure fairness, the Great Pumpkin Egg Hunt will take place in 2 different waves: 2- and 3-year-olds with parents, and 4- and 6-year-olds separately. The Great Pumpkin Prize will go to 1 lucky child from each age group. This event runs from 10 a.m. sharp to 12 p.m. Pre-registration is required. To learn more and register, visit the Town of Plymouth Recreation Department Facebook page. From seed to harvest, green energy to green living, your green space features ways you can keep your garden, home, and body feeling green. In this installment, Erica visits with herbalist Carissa Wills-DeMello.
Western herbal medicine involves utilizing plant materials to create treatments that assist or prevent numerous illnesses. These ingredients may include flowers, roots, fruits, leaves, and bark. The use of various herbal formulas is one of the oldest and possibly the most widespread form of medicine. Right now I am at Town Farm Tonics, and we will be walking with Carissa and Adam through their yard, as they believe that the healing herbs and wild weeds that grow in our climates are best suited to support us. Knowledge of these local plants reweaves a connection between land and people. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Carissa Wills-DeMello, and we are here in my backyard and my home garden in beautiful Westport, Massachusetts, which is on the south coast of Massachusetts. And our garden here is really our medicinal herb garden. It's a plot to support pollinators. It's a place for birds to come and visit and hang out, and to really experiment with growing different herbs and making different herbal remedies. Luckily, I work at a vegetable farm nearby, and we have a lot of farmers, so we don't really have a need to grow vegetables. So we really just focus this garden as a place for beauty, joy, inspiration, and that's what I really see as the benefit of having a garden, whether it's a plot in your backyard, raised beds in a local park, or just pots in a windowsill. I think a garden is really a place where you get to co-create with plants and build relationships with them and get to know them. And I think through those relationships, you build confidence and wisdom and creativity, and it's just a really beautiful relationship to have. So this is our little garden. This garden was started actually in 2014. This is my grandmother's house. It's where I grew up. And before I started this garden, it was really just our backyard. And it all started with a lavender plant in that corner and a thyme plant in that corner, and raised beds that no longer exist save for these little borders right here. And I started the garden before I joined the Peace Corps, and it was really just meant to be a small home vegetable garden. But during my experience as a Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji, I was opened up to the concept of herbalism. I really had no idea that plants that grow wild around us were medicinal. And in Fiji, there's really this connection and strong practice still of their traditional forms of herbalism, where people are familiar with every bark, every leaf, seaweeds, roots, flowers, and it was just incredibly inspiring and humbling and eye-opening. And during that experience, I was convinced that when I came home, I just had to know more about the place that I live and the plants that grow here and their benefits and properties and how they can nourish me and the people in my life. And so when I came home in 2014, I started studying herbalism at Pharmacy Herbs in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was about a 3-year program. And after that, I did a residency in East Providence as a practicing herbalist. And it was that educational experience that really just threw me into this amazing world of the wild and cultivated medicinal plants that grow so easily and abundantly here in New England. And now our garden is thriving with both cultivated and wild plants. Some of our favorite plants are the ones that have introduced themselves, like this lovely plant. This is a great example. This is my friend mullein, or Verbascum thapsus. I'm sure some people plant mullein because why not? It's so beautiful. Mullein has just introduced itself to our garden and yard. It's a plant that's always been here, and rather than weeding out the weeds, we really like to balance planting cultivated medicinal plants with sort of tending the wilds here in our garden and finding the plants like mullein or like teasel back there in the corner, or St. John's wort that really want to be in our garden, and getting to know them and feeding them and tending them over the years, and really making this a place where the wild and the domestic commingle and teach us a lot. As a practicing herbalist, I make a lot of home herbal remedies and practice a lot of really kitchen herbalism using plants and cooking that also benefit health and wellness. A great example of that is sage right here. Very common culinary herb, but it's also very medicinal. Sage is really great for drying out inflamed tissues and cooling tissues. You can make it a tea, into a soup, chop it up into pestos, and we use a lot of these plants to make remedies that we'll share with friends and families. I'll make tinctures, teas, and syrups that I can share with clients that I work with for different health needs. And also, we use our garden as a great place to experiment with growing and drying herbs that right now we're sourcing in bulk from other growers to make products like herbal teas and salves with. My partner Adam and I own a business called Town Farm Tonics, and we make elderberry syrup, fire cider, and loose leaf herbal teas, which are all well-known traditional herbal remedies that anyone can make easily in their own home. And our garden is a really great place to experiment with what it would be like if we were having our own herb farm and growing some of these plants and comparing the difference in quality from a plant that's grown in really nutritious soil on a smaller scale, along with other plants cohabitating with pollinators and people, and seeing, does it grow a lot better when it's grown in that way in a small scale compared to the plants that we're right now having to source from bigger farms in larger quantities, and maybe plants that aren't dried so recently or aren't as fresh. An example of that is catnip. Catnip is a beautiful plant in the mint family. Pollinators love it. The bees are always all over this plant, as well as my cat Bentley, which is why there might be some branches missing. He likes to nibble on the lower branches. We put catnip in a tea for digestion. Catnip is really known for helping move gas from the digestive system and get rid of that butterfly feeling in your belly that goes with, belly and mind stress, and it's really well known for supporting children and helping them feel calm. So catnip is a fun one to grow at home and see, what's it like when we grow it and dry it ourselves, and compare that quality with maybe store-bought herbs. We really like to see what plants invite themselves into our garden, who really wants to be here, who grows and thrives and supports our pollinators and birds and us humans who live here. And St. John's wort is probably my favorite example. This plant is absolutely prolific and abundant around this area. It loves growing on sunny field edges and old fields and farms. And just a few years ago, we had no St. John's wort in our garden. So I think this plant really knows that I love it a lot and followed me here. And another name for St. John's wort, a name that I prefer, is solstice wort, because these beautiful little flowers bloom right around the summer solstice. And then we start picking these little flowers and we add them to an oil and infuse them in the sun. I can show you what that looks like. This right here was just made yesterday. I picked a bunch of St. John's wort flowers and added a mix of sunflower and olive oil and set it down in the sun. And as you can see, it doesn't look like much more than oil and flowers. This oil right here has been infusing for about 3 weeks. Check out that rich red color. So when the oil starts to turn red, that's indicative of the fact that the flowers are releasing their medicinal compounds into the oil, and the sun is really helping that infusion process. And then you can take this oil and strain it and make a really wonderful oil to apply to your skin for soothing aches and pains, like any inflammation or injury of the muscles or tissues, even sunburns. It really helps to bring blood flow and heal the tissues. And you know, that's what I love about working with wild plants and really the common medicinal plants, like even rosemary and oregano. These plants are so much more than just flavor. They're medicine. You know, there's a reason why soup is the first thing that people tell you to go to when you have a cold, because there's so many healing plants in there, the garlic, thyme, sage, and these are practices that are within all of our hands. I think what really brought me to herbalism was seeing that even in a place like Fiji, where maybe some Americans might think they're resource deprived or even poor, people's lives were so rich because they still had this knowledge and empowerment from the plants that are growing right outside of their door, right in the forest or right in the seaside. And having those relationships, I could just see how much joy and how much strength it brought people to know that their health was in their hands, that they had what they needed to support their community or take care of their family members. And I think that that's an experience that is, it's really accessible to all of us. We all have the ability, whether it's to grow a garden at home or just start to open our eyes to the plants that are growing at our favorite trails or our favorite parks, and start to get to know them as more than just a weed or a flower, and really get to know their history and how they can support us humans and really teach us something that can benefit our body, mind, and spirit. Home herb gardening definitely does not need to be limited by space or resources if you can be creative. This beautiful passion flower right here happens to be just growing right up our porch because it loves to spread itself out and reach high towards the sky. And there's simply no space in our small garden for passion flower. But our porch is a really creative place that we can use a structure that exists to grow this plant that is, one, really beautiful and also very medicinal. Passion flower makes a wonderful tea and tincture to help with sleep and restlessness and anxiety. And not only are we creatively using this space to grow passion flower, but we never even bought this passion flower. This vine, or the many vines that grow here, actually is maybe the great-great-grandbaby of a couple little passion flowers that I got from Pharmacy Herbs, which is where I studied and worked as an herbalist. And those maybe 2 or 3 vines have now grown to plentiful vines that are covering our porch. They're lending beautiful shade so I can sit out here and work on a hot summer day. And now this passion flower has so many babies that I've given them away to so many friends and family. So if you start to, open your eyes to the resources that already exist, whether it's wild plants or maybe gardens from friends and family, and start to share plants, you can really build up your home herb garden and your home herb apothecary with really not too many resources if you're creative. And then aside from our passion flower, in the middle of our yard, we've really let the mullein go absolutely wild. We've noticed that it's a favorite of the bees, so we like to keep it in bunches because when you sit in the middle of them, you can hear all the bees buzzing around you, and it's a really beautiful experience. And as you can see, this is really, it's just a backyard lawn, but mullein grows so well here out in the sunshine, and it has these beautiful flowers that you can infuse in oil to help reduce congestion by applying it to your chest. It has these wonderful leaves, some of which are getting a little old, but the younger, greener, more beautiful leaves make a really wonderful tea for respiratory congestion. So again, instead of limiting ourselves to the garden, we found spaces in our yard where the plants want to be and have already established themselves, and we just let them grow wild. And we even have a bunch of plantain growing here too, which, not plantain the banana, longleaf plantain. And this plant is really great for healing wounds and helping with itches and inflammation. And we just let these useful plants find their place in our yard and make a home. So now that I've showed you a little bit of the herb garden, I'll take you inside and give you an idea or two of how you can take some of these wild and cultivated plants and transform them into a kitchen herbal medicine that you can easily make and use in everyday life. So bringing the herbs from the garden or your yard or the windowsill into the kitchen is the next part of the fun that I really love, and a great way to extend gardening into the fall and winter months when we're spending more time indoors, but you can still get creative with plants. So we all met St. John's wort in the garden, one of my favorite wild medicinal plants. And here is some St. John's wort oil that was infused about a month ago, and it's ready to be strained. So all we're gonna do here, and this is something anyone can easily do at home, you just infuse that St. John's wort into your oil and strain those flowers out. Look at how rich and red that oil is. And it smells really good too. It has this nice lemony fragrance to it. And now this oil can be saved and just simply applied to the skin for sunburns or, small burn from cooking, say. Or you can mix that oil up with beeswax and shea butter and make a salve. And a salve is simply an oil with beeswax and perhaps shea butter or coconut oil that gets a little bit harder, and then it's easier to apply, and you can use this on aches and sprains. It's really good for inflammation and for muscular and nervous system pain. That's the traditional use for the plant. You can also tincture St. John's wort and a lot of other plants really easily. This is being tinctured in brandy. Making a tincture is essentially just extracting the beneficial compounds from a plant into a menstruum or a solution. So that could be alcohol, that could be vinegar, it could be a vegetable glycerin, depending on what type of liquid you want to consume. Different menstruums will get out different compounds from the plant, but if you're really looking to just do the simple folk herbalism, kitchen herbalist method, I say get some good brandy or good vodka and just simply fill your jar with plants and cover it with that spirit and let it sit for about a month. And that will draw out a lot of compounds and then allow you to use that tincture in a medicinal way. St. John's wort is a really great plant to know, of course, because like all plants, one plant can be a medicine cabinet unto itself. It can have so many different benefits, so many different uses. And not only that, but so beautiful and supportive for pollinators and birds and people taking in the beauty. And then you can make so many different things that you can share with your family and friends. St. John's wort, to me, is a really good reminder that herbalism really goes hand in hand with your traditional or more modern allopathic medicine. I think it's really not one or the other. It's all things combined and knowing when is the right time to go to a different healthcare provider. And for instance, St. John's wort is really well known for nervous system support internally, but also as a tincture, it can have contraindications and it can interact with different pharmaceuticals because it has a really powerful and important effect on your liver, and it helps you really flush out toxins and compounds from your body that you don't need. But if you're taking a medication, that means your medication might flush out of your body too fast and won't get to do the important things it's supposed to do. So St. John's wort is just a really good reminder that allopathy and traditional herbal medicine can really work hand in hand, and I'm sure as time goes on, that will be more and more of the case. Another plant that we grow in our garden is Tulsi or holy basil. This is a fun one to grow because, as I mentioned, my partner and I have an herbal business called Town Farm Tonics, and Tulsi is one herb that we source bulk quantities of. We get pounds and pounds of this beautiful herb that's sourced from organic farms all around America, but ideally we'd be growing it ourselves or sourcing it directly from farmers who are growing it locally, because then that's supporting our local economy, that's supporting local farmers, that also gives us hopefully eventually work that is really joyful and supporting our local ecology. But for now, while we don't have access to a farm or many local farmers growing medicinal herbs, we're trialing growing our herbs at home because we can use it for ourselves, we can share it with friends and family, and then we can also trial what it's like to maybe sub out our homegrown Tulsi for some of the bulk grown Tulsi and see, does it make a difference? This is what our tea ends up looking like at the end, this beautiful mix of herbs. This blend has oat straw, nettles, and a bunch of other high vitamin and mineral herbs that are just really nutritious and taste amazing. And it's really fun to take that blend and try it out on a smaller home scale and see what are we capable of growing ourselves and what can we suggest other people try for themselves too. For me, as an herbalist, running an herbal business is my day job, but being an herbalist is really my passion. And for me, it's about the empowering experience of getting to know plants and using them for yourselves and teaching others, and that's what really brings me joy and hope for the future.
One of the advantages of herbal medicine for gardeners is that many herbs are easy to grow. In fact, several medicinal plants commonly are grown as ornamentals. For example, instead of going to the store to buy echinacea, you can grow this lovely flu-fighting herb in your own yard, as many of these herbal remedies can be prepared in your own kitchen. Herbal formulas are used for many suggested purposes, such as improvement or general support of digestive, respiratory, circulatory, immune, endocrine, and nervous system processes. Our towns, backyards, fields, and forests are full of the healing herbs within many of our favorite therapies. It's just knowing where to start. Here's to our wellness. Cheers.
Thank you, Erica and Carissa. To watch episodes on other green topics, visit the Local Scenes YouTube channel and the playlist Your Green Space. The upcoming holiday season is a time for joy, togetherness, and unfortunately, scammers. To keep informed on how to protect yourself from malicious and clever fraudsters, the Duxbury Senior Center is offering Holiday Fraud Prevention as part of its Senior Safety Series. On Monday, November 8th from 10 to 11 a.m., join Robin Putnam, Research and Special Projects Manager from the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation, and Danielle Bass, Community Relations Specialist from the Better Business Bureau, who will lead a discussion on credit card skimming devices, how to safely shop online through the mail or television, Black Friday shopping, return policies, defective merchandise, and what to do if your package is lost or stolen. This event will take place in the large classroom at the Senior Center. Visit the website or call to register. Founded in 1999, Pilgrim Festival Chorus is an auditioned, volunteer choral ensemble with about 80 active members, representing all skill levels and dedicated to the performance of diverse genres of choral music. On October 23rd and 24th, the chorus will present 2 special commemorative concerts honoring Plymouth's quadricentennial celebration at St. Bonaventure Parish in Plymouth. Pilgrim Journey, Songs of Faith and Courage, will mark the 400th anniversary of the landing of the Mayflower in Plymouth. Initially scheduled for October 2020, this postponed concert is presented through the lens of the faith and courage of the Mayflower's passengers as they emigrated across the sea to the New World. PFC is funded in part by Cultural Council grants and produced in part in cooperation with See Plymouth and Plymouth County Commissioners. For showtimes, tickets, and to learn more about the musical compositions to be presented, visit pilgrimfestivalchorus.org. On Monday, October 25th from 4:30 to 5 p.m., Bring your child aged 3 to 7 to the Pembroke Public Library to explore science, technology, engineering, art, and math as they transform ordinary objects into a collection of Halloween-themed spooky friends. This program is being generously provided by STEAM Up Team and also welcomes older and younger siblings of participants. Visit the library's website to register. Mindfulness is a meditation practice that improves our physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. Join Cindy Sweetser for Mindfulness Mondays at the Plymouth Center for Active Living each Monday from 1 to 2:30 p.m. This centering class nurturing awareness begins with a weekly topic followed by a 20-minute meditation and ends with a group discussion. Visit the website or call the center to sign up. On Saturday, October 30th from 3 to 7 p.m., Camp Kiwani in Hanson invites you to dress in your spookiest costume and join their annual Camp Kiwani Halloween Spooktacular event. Free to the public, this year will feature the traditional pumpkin walk, story time with Big Joe, hot cocoa station, s'mores around the campfire, arts and crafts, spooky DJ, and new this year, a haunted house. Visit the Camp Kiwani Facebook page to learn more. The Kingston Recreation Department, together with the Kingston Public Library, are hosting the first annual Book and Treat event on Friday, October 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Reed Building in Kingston. This family-friendly evening will include spooky music, a haunted trail for trick-or-treating, fun and frightful games, and you and your family dressed, of course, in your favorite and creepiest costume. Book your reservations by visiting kingstonrec.com. And bookmark pactv.org/thelocalscene for more of what's good and good to know in our area. That wraps up this week's episode of Local Matters. From all of us at PACTV, have a happy and safe week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to The Local Scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.